Hello class, welcome to lesson 11 and 12 notes where we're going to be writing expressions with letters and grouping. So we've been writing expressions for a while now, the last couple weeks on our notes and classwork and tests and stuff like that. But today we're going to learn how to do it in grouping. So here's the first half of the notes. Obviously there's a huge table in the middle of these notes. So make sure that you line it up correctly down here along the bottom and you don't double dip or miss anything. So here's the first half. And here is the second half with a little bit of context up above. If you notice, this line was already there, so you don't have to write it twice. Alrighty, so that is the whole note. Let's jump right in and go about learning this stuff. So like I said before, we've already talked about writing expressions. Lessons 5 and 6 in your notes are all about the basics of writing expressions. However, today we're going to be looking at a little bit more, a few more complex examples of multifunction expressions. However, we have a table here that explains the process and gives you an example for each process. So the first basic instruction, which is pretty simple for normal one-step expressions, is to identify the function word and then create the expression with the other values. The function word that we're talking about refers to the word that tells you what kind of a problem it is. Like, for instance, it could be a multiplication problem, or it could be a division problem, or it could be an addition problem, or it could be a subtraction problem. Okay, and there are a bunch of words that refer to those types of functions. Obviously, we can't list them all, but you guys have a pretty good understanding of what those words could be. So once we've identified that function word, we create the expression with the values. And as an example here, the product of a number and 7. Okay, so product is our function word, and then a number and 7 are the values. Okay, so product we know automatically means multiplication, and a number will represent with n, and 7 obviously will represent with the number 7. So you see that here. Product, which is a multiplication sign, that's the dot, n, which is the number, and 7, which is the value of 7, right? Nothing too complex there. However, we will get into learning how to group in this lesson, because sometimes you will see multi-function expressions, which means there's just more than one function. In this first example that we just did, there's only one function, that's multiplication. But sometimes you'll have more than one. So if it is that kind of a problem, you're going to group the correct values together, and is the key connector. You can use parentheses and fraction bars to do the grouping. Okay, so we've talked about how to group things. We know that in order to group things here, so to group the correct values together, we can definitely use parentheses to group things together, but we also learned that we can use a fraction bar to group things together. And we'll do a quick example of that here in just a second. So let's walk through our example. Example 1, the product of 5 plus 7 and 6. Okay, so what we know here right away is that the product is our function word, so we know it's going to be a multiplication sign. So we come down here and we place our multiplication sign in the middle. Okay, and then we identify the word and as being that symbol. Okay, so anything that comes before the word and, like 5 plus 7, needs to come before the multiplication sign. Anything that comes after, like 6, needs to come after the multiplication sign. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of all these marks and move on. So we have the 5 plus 7 here, 5 plus 7 here. Then we have the and, which we'll use as our multiplication sign. Then we have our 6, which comes after. Same thing here. 5 plus 7. Yeah, obviously you know that parentheses right next to a number means multiply. And our 6. Okay. Example number 2 says the difference of 3 more than 8 and 6 less than 10. Right away we know that difference means subtraction. So we have our subtraction sign here. And we know that we're going to use and as being that subtraction sign. So anything before and, such as 3 more than 8 will come before. And anything after the and, such as 6 less than 10, will come after. Okay. That's pretty much it. We just need to, like we say, identify the function word, use and to split them up, use parentheses or fraction bars to group them. Now, fraction bars you're only going to use if it is a division problem. None of our examples offer division. However, we've done a few in class and we'll continue to do a few in class. So to finalize the notes, we're just going to take a look at these last 2 vocabulary words to remember. Variable is the letter that represents an unknown number, and an expression is just a math problem. Thank you. That's pretty much all we've got for the notes today, and goodbye.